Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.
Good evening, and welcome along to Rowan Elliott tonight. Good to have your company with us once again. Coming up on the show, I'll be chatting to a Loose Woman star, Denise Welch. She'll be revealing how she became a victim of a bank card scam.
It's not just one person, in his mother's basement doing this. These are complete and utter cells of people who have become really, really, really high-tech.
We'll also be chatting to Dr. Hilary Jones all about his brand new podcast, and he'll be revealing to us why he feels like he's always on the job.
I was on a train coming back from Manchester on a crowded railway carriage, and the ticket inspector said in a loud voice, "I'm having a colonoscopy next week, what's involved?"
Following his appearance at the Glastonbury Festival this year, we'll have new music from singer-songwriter Paul Casey. We'll be chatting to Joe O'Sullivan, and we'll have new music from the All Clear. And we've been out and about this week. We've been to Belfast's brand new shared space at the Black Mountain and finding out about a brand new project that choreographer Eileen Clory is involved in. But as always, let's begin the show by talking about this week's top quirky news stories. To help us do it, she's a broadcaster, she's a journalist. In fact, she was nearly on the show right from the start. It's Tina Calder. How are you?
Hello, it's lovely to be back.
It's been a while.
Well, it has, yeah.
Yeah.
I lost a bit of weight, so
well,
I thought maybe now is the time to get back on TV.
But of course, if you take this show way back to the beginning, nearly 21 years ago, this show could have been very different, because the original series was called The Rowan and Tina Show.
It was indeed, back in the day. But let's be honest, I was a really rubbish presenter, so it was probably a good thing that I didn't stick around.
You were very good. In fact, let's just remind ourselves what it looked like back in the day. Roll the VT.
What about Westlife as a pop act? Are you a fan?
The pop act. Did they do Mandy by? Yeah, that was a bit of a shame. That's one of my favourite songs of all time, Yeah. And
they did butcher it though, didn't they?
yeah, but then again, I suppose it's like kids are going to hear that song, different. You're going to hear it for the first time, and it's just a great song, isn't it? Really. Yeah, but butcher does spring to mind.
I knew there was a reason you asked me to do this today. I knew there was just no way that he was just, I know, I'll ring Tina.
That brings back some memories. My God,
No,
right.
Robin, I can't cope.
Let's talk news stories.
Yes.
And we're starting off by talking about cats and cucumbers.
I don't know if you've seen, there's a TikTok trend of, of people kind of laying cucumbers down for their cats to see. And what happens is the cats are like exploding in fear.
Right.
And of course, everybody thinks this is absolutely hilarious. Poor traumatized cats, can I just say? It turns out that a cat psychologist or something, I don't know, somebody who knows cats, basically said it's because the cats think it's a snake. So don't leave your cucumbers around your little feline friends.
Okay, there you go. You have been warned, right from cats to snakes. And this story, this is crazy.
I don't even know where to start with this one. So it brings a whole new world to got a snake in his pants, okay?
Yeah.
So this is a man who was traveling from Hong Kong to China, where you're not allowed to just randomly take snakes across the border. So what did he do? He decided to take 104 snakes, which, okay, what are you going to hide them in, a box or whatever? No, he taped them to his legs. 104 snakes of varying different species or whatever.
Surely that would flag.
I'm even crawling thinking about it.
You know, he'd be walking a bit funny, walking through
Well,
security, wouldn't he?
I mean, unless he drugged them or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, can you just imagine the pat? Anything to declare, sir? Well, no, but.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so don't tape snakes to your legs when travelling.
Right, okay, there we go. Another warning for you.
You did ask for quirky stuff.
I did ask that. You can't get any more quirky than that. We're going to finish off with one of your fabulous facts that you come out with. This one about hippos.
Right, I'm going to look at my notes for
Yeah.
this one. So, right, apparently hippos can fly,
What?
but it's only scientifically. So they can't actually be airborne and fly across, I don't know, the Serengeti or wherever they live, I don't know. Because of their makeup, they can jump or elevate or, I don't know, lift off the ground for 0.3 seconds, which technically means they can be airborne.
Right, okay. So technically a hippo can fly.
Technically speaking, I mean, I could probably jump up for 0.3 seconds. So, you know, I now have a new superpower.
There you go. Tina, it has been fascinating.
You're welcome.
You're coming back next week.
I will be, yeah.
We'll see you then. Right, time for some brand new music, and singer-songwriter Paul Casey was at the Glastonbury Festival this year. He played the acoustic stage, and he also recorded the video for his new single at Glastonbury. So here's Paul Casey and a track called Far.
Far will I run, far will I go to see you now, my baby, to see you. I'll cross the ocean, yeah, the deep blue ocean, to see you now, my baby, to see you. 'Cause I know you know that I'd go. 'Cause I know you know, my love, that I'd go. Do you wait? Do you wait to see me now, my baby, to see me? You have never been, you have never been without my love, my darling. 'Cause I know you know that I'd go. 'Cause I know you know, my love, that I'd go. Yeah, the man inside me, who has waited so long to hold you so, my baby, to hold you. You have never been, you have never been
New music from Paul Casey. Still to come, we'll have some more brand new music, this time from the All Clear. And we'll be chatting to Dr. Hilary Jones all about his brand new podcast right after these.
Heading to the North Coast? The Jet Centre in Clory offers entertainment for everyone. There's an 8-screen movie house cinema with all the best movies, 10-pin bowling, a massive arcade, soft play for the wee ones. Outdoors, there's a mini fun park and gem mining, plus an 18-hole floodlit mini golf course. Rain or shine, there's something for everyone here at the Jet Centre. Find out more at thejetcentre.co.uk.
And welcome back to Rowan Elliott tonight. Now, Dr. Hilary Jones has got a brand new podcast. It's available now, and it's created to help us understand a little more about our health. I'm pleased to say Dr. Hilary joins us on the line. How are you today?
I'm very well, Robin. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So congratulations on the new podcast. How did all this come about?
Well, I just thought that it's so difficult to have enough time to portray important messages these days about health and well-being. People's attention span is shorter than it used to be. So TV knows this, and we might get 2 or 3 minutes on a subject which I find is very important. So we'll devote lots of time to Love Island and to entertainment, but not always a great deal to health, which for me as a doctor obviously is very important. And I think people now want to talk about issues such as anxiety and depression and heart disease and cancer. We've broken down so many taboos. It's okay to talk about breast self-examination, about prostate problems, about testicular examination and heart disease. So a podcast gives me a platform whereby over the course of around an hour, we can cover a number of subjects and not just address the headline problems, but actually look at the solutions to those problems, give people the wherewithal to do something about the issues that they're facing and that are bothering them. So I do that with a little bit of a take on my views on the immediate medical news of the week, but then we'll take a deep dive into a subject of my choice using experts in their field to really look closely at particularly important issues. And then I'll have a celebrity guest or a guest who isn't a celebrity talking about their personal health journey, which I hope will be enlightening and entertaining too for anyone who's listening to the podcast.
So tell us about some of the celebs that you have appearing on the show. Who's lined up so far?
Well, in my inaugural podcast yesterday, I had a chap called Piers Morgan. I think you may have heard of him.
Yes.
For his strong opinions. And he was very candid about his personal health journey. He talked about his broken ribs and his recovery from long COVID. He talked about pollution bombs and his take on where the NHS might be going. So, he was very generous with his information. And I think by using people that are in the public eye, other people who listen and view will identify with those things. So, well, if they got through it, I can get through this. It's health touches everybody, whoever the kings and queens, as well as the lowly. And I think people will get something from this, entertainment as well as information, and go forward with earlier diagnosis, or go and see their doctor, whatever.
So starting off with Piers Morgan, that's setting the bar really high, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I've got a list of people who are going to follow suit. They've already agreed, so that's nice. And there's people I want to approach. I mean, for example, Vinnie Jones, who once came to the studio and asked me if I would remove some stitches from his face, he's a man I didn't want to hurt. But I'm hoping that he'll return the favour and come on the show.
So we've been watching you on TV for so many years now. So do people still come up to you on the street looking for advice and saying, can you take a look at me, basically?
You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. I was just reflecting on something like that the other day when I was on a train coming back from Manchester on a crowded railway carriage, and the ticket inspector said in a loud voice, "I'm having a colonoscopy next week. What's involved?" so so I had to carefully choose my words to give him the reassurance he needed that everything would be fine.
So coming back to the podcast, are any topics allowed on the show? And can your listeners actually suggest things that they want to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be encouraging people to contact us with their questions and their views, and we want to cover every subject. There's not going to be any taboos. We want people to open up, to talk about all sorts of issues, whether it's mental health, physical health, spiritual health, emotional health, bereavement, assisted dying, you name it. It'll all be within the remit of the show, because I want people to see that health is accessible to all, that information is accessible to all, but also that information has to be reliable and authoritative. It's not good enough just to go online and find out about causes of headache, only for people to get worried about brain tumours. We need interpretation of information to give people the clarity and the consistency they deserve.
And will you be covering the big health news issues of the day, things like the NHS, because people have got a lot to say when it comes to subjects like the NHS?
Absolutely, and it would be lovely if we can get people like Wes Streeting to come on and talk about the new government's views on how we get people GP appointments, how we recruit more doctors and retain more doctors and nurses, how we improve resources in the health service and make it the pride of the country that it once was, but is no longer functioning as it should. I believe it's repairable. I know that the institution of the NHS is beloved by most people, but it is beginning to break down and not be as reliable for everybody every day as it used to be. And that's a shame. When it was created in 1948 by that socialist government, it was the best thing any socialist government have ever done, any government have ever done for this country. And we need to cherish it, preserve it, look after it. And it's going to be a difficult uphill job for the next few years, but it's really worth us doing that.
And it would be great to hear from some politicians on the podcast as well.
Absolutely. And for me, here is a wonderful opportunity for a new government with a massive majority to make the brave decisions that won't necessarily always be popular in every aspect, but we need courage to make the changes that will preserve the core job of the NHS, looking after those people who need it most. And if it means changing things and maybe employing more of the private healthcare sector, then all well and good. As long as it helps the majority of people to stay healthy, then fine. But we also need to be brave about, let's stop the accessibility to ultra-processed foods and fast foods, the advertising and the marketing that encourages people to make the wrong choices. Let's reintroduce sport to schools and, use things like the Olympics to inspire and motivate people. We can achieve a great amount. And it'll take a brave government to do it, but this government has the wherewithal, with its majority, to actually make those decisions.
And have you ever thought about going into politics?
Yes, very briefly, and dismissed it out of hand. I haven't got a thick enough skin. I'd rather advise, if I can, from afar, rather than adopt that role.
Now, you've released this podcast at a really good time because everybody is listening to podcasts at the moment. They're so accessible. You can take them anywhere with you. So it really is the time for the podcast, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. It just gives us the platform with enough time to look at the problems, but address the issues and find the solutions. So we can take an in-depth look into issues rather than just 2 minutes here, 1 minute there. People are interested in health. There's a massive appetite for health stories, whether it's an issue that somebody might individually identify with, or just something that's interesting, like the surfer whose leg was bitten off by a shark yesterday, and now surgeons are trying to reattach his limb because the limb was washed up on the beach a little while later.
Yeah,
And we can extrapolate that to, for example, the Frenchman who had his hand cut off with a saw, and he was the first recipient of a hand transplant, which worked, but he rejected it for emotional reasons a year or two later because he couldn't cope with the idea of having somebody else's hand, because he didn't know what it had done, where it had been. Issues like that I find fascinating. I think most people do as well. So we can sometimes sort of go off at a tangent into the weird and wonderful as well as the issues of the day.
As well on all the podcast platforms, it's also available on a number of radio stations up and down the UK, isn't it?
Yes, so this will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Radio News Hub stations around the country. So the more people we can reach and the more people we can contact and have one-to-one conversations with, the better. I want to involve as many people as possible, just like a busy surgery.
And the first episode featuring Piers Morgan is available right now?
Absolutely. It was available yesterday out there, and it's obviously still going to be available on those channels.
I look forward to listening to it. Dr. Hilary, good to see you. The best of luck with the podcast, and thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Robin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Still to come on Robin Elliott tonight, we'll have new music from the All Clear. I'm going to find out about this year's Sunflower Cottage Festival, and we'll be chatting to Loose Women star Denise Welch as well. But before all that, we've got out of the studio this week, and we headed up to a brand new shared space at Black Mountain here in Belfast to find out about a new project that choreographer Eileen Clory is currently involved in. Here's what happened. So for anybody watching this who doesn't recognise where we are at the moment, you would think they were standing in the middle of the countryside somewhere. We're just minutes outside of Belfast city centre, and of course behind me is the famous Black Mountain. We're here to check out a brand new shared community space and find out about a brand new project that's been led by choreographer Eileen Clory. Let's go and see what's happening.
The Roots project is a massive multi-art form collaboration between gardening, dance, poetry and storytelling, and we partnered with the brand new multi-purpose building Black Mountain Church Space. As you can see, we're in this brand new garden. It's just been planted and it's been inspired by the communities that live adjacent to the Million Brick Peace Wall in Springmartin and Springfield, and we've worked with communities to imagine a garden for the future and a place where you can come and take a bit of time out. The show is a walkabout show, so you're going to be given headphones and you're invited to travel through the garden, and you're going to see really gorgeous dancers and hear just beautiful poetry, see things in a new way and see other people in a new way, and just experience theatre in a tactile and delicious new way.
Now, for this project, you've put together a fabulous creative team.
Well, yes, I would be lost without my amazing team. So we have a dramaturg, Hannah Slatna, that's here filling all the dots and making sure everything makes sense, because we're, our audience go on a rotation at different periods. We also have our incredible writer, Maria McManus, who's just written poems that, they're just so incredible. And then we have Isaac Gibson, the legend on the sound design, who has been responsible for making all of the sound elements work and truly immerse you into this garden. And Una Hickey on the costumes, which have been inspired by our local textures and linens and all the different fabrics. And we also have Kerry Hannah, who's creating a glass piece, which will also be installed in the garden. And then we have our 5 brilliant dancers, Clara Kerr, Ed Mitchell, Sarah Flavelle, Harry Wilson and Rosie Mullen, and we've 3 from Belfast and 2 from the UK, and it's just such a joy to work with such brilliant collaborators. And although my name is led by, it's not, it's everyone's work. It's a massive big team and I just get to put my name on it. And it's produced by Hannah Mullen from Playground and Sandy Cuthbert.
So Maria, first of all, we're here today in this fabulous venue, so it must be great coming to work every day.
I'm really amazed and actually quite honoured to be able to work up here at Black Mountain Shared Space. What the community have managed to do here is astonishing.
So tell us your involvement then. You're a poet, so how does your poetry fit into this project then?
Eileen and I have worked on several projects previously together, so my role in the project was to liaise a lot with the community to really get a sense of the stories, the history, a sense of the place, a sense of the people here, and create something that wasn't necessarily a narrative but was contributing to filling out the picture of the meaning of the garden and the significance of this development for the community. So an amazing opportunity to write poetry that is environmental themed but also has other themes running with that is about the future, about the communities here, about the achievement of this place.
And of course the first thing when you drive in here, the first thing you notice is that mountain behind us here as well.
It's astonishing, the Black Mountain. And actually that came through really clearly when we were doing the workshops with the community. It is very much an anchor point of the people here. It's an orientation towards home. People seem to take soundings from the mountain. They look to the mountain for some sense of what the weather will be like. And it very much reflects a deep sense of belonging for the people here. So it was very interesting then for me to kind of think of the mountain also as a character, because that's, and a female character in particular, because I have a strong sense that that's how the community feel about her.
And the amazing thing is we're not too far away from the city, but we still feels like we're in the middle of the countryside.
It's a very, very interesting place because it's densely populated. I mean, there's a lot of housing long established here. That's not new, but we are right also on the cusp of the countryside and the wild countryside. You know, you have a strong sense of that from the birds, for example, that are here, from the weather that is here. It's quite a windy spot. And actually, the further up the mountain you go, the clearer the view you have on a good day. Right the way down to the Mourns, right out to Strangford Lough, right to the mouth of the Lagan and out into Belfast Lough. So it's quite an interesting place. It's a real vantage point from which to both literally and metaphorically take stock of the city.
And once this project comes to an end, this dance project, the garden will still be here so the people of this community can still enjoy that.
That's what we want, for that there is a legacy here that is both, on the one hand, a literal place for people to come and gather and to work, but that it has another significance as well, is that it becomes something that people make and create and develop through to the future together.
Now we've got the good weather at the moment, but we know here in Belfast the weather can change at any time. It's an outdoor performance.
Yes.
What happens if the weather turns and the rain comes back?
Well, we'll bring our wellies, we'll bring a raincoat, we get a poncho, and unless there's thunder and lightning or, the ground it's just biblical rain, then that'll be a call off. But we will try to do as many shows as possible. And sometimes it's also nice to experience it when it is a bit misty, it's a bit atmospheric. And it's really, just come on down, rain or shine, and there'll be beautiful dancers in the garden.
Okay, give us those performance dates then.
So our performances are on the 10th to the 18th of August at 7 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Okay, and if people want to get their tickets, where do they get those from?
They get them from www.offtherails.com/roots.
I invite you to picture this. The Mother Mountain sleeping, millennia of steamy, sultry dream time under her great and weighty duvet of ice. She'd slipped the leash of the everyday momentarily, feral, free, curvaceous, fecund. She took her leisure, her sleep of ages. To an observer, this new scene is simplified. The palette, stylish and coherent, crisp and clear blue heavens, pristine, blinding ice and snow, casting a corona on the sun to split the light, like a portent of the riot yet to come. For this, the city of hard knocks, the city she has birthed, is a mere petulant and demanding toddler in the story of time itself.
Nearly time for some more brand new music. I'll be chatting to Joe O'Sullivan about his band, The All Clear. I'm going to play new music from them, a track called Northern Soul, right after these.
Here we are on the north coast, where sporting legends are made. He needs this putt to advance to the next stage, but can he do it? The crowd are holding their breath. Can he cope with the pressure?
Dad, would you take the shot?
Yes! Yes!
Well. And welcome back to Robin Elliott Tonight. Let's play you some brand new music now. And here with a new track from their new album, here's The All Clear and a song called Northern Soul.
Fourscore years and more, I've spent time with the northern souls, the lives in the eyes, the walls don't describe. You were all left alone to find your way in the northern zone. The strength to survive, never shown outside. I think I miss the lonely cries left out in the cold, and the lost lives of the ones that died and the ones unknown. I think I miss the lonely cries
So that is a track called Northern Soul. It's from the All Clear, who've got a brand new album out called Harbour Songs. And I'm pleased to say that Joe O'Sullivan joins us in the studio. How are you?
Great, thanks Robin. Great to be here.
Good to see you in the studio, because last time it was during COVID and we were at home doing everything on Zoom, weren't we?
We did the Zoom thing. Yeah, it was good, but this is much better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously you're still making music.
I am.
You finally got around to getting the album out. I know you've got the album launch coming soon.
That's right.
But tell us about the song that we just heard there, Northern Soul. What's the story behind that?
So Northern Soul, I've been living here working and very happily living here for 20 years in Northern Ireland as a southerner from the county Wexford. And this song is a bit about how my attitude to Northern Ireland and the people here has changed over those years, getting to know people. And this is it was inspired by a documentary about the Troubles called Once Upon a Time in Northern Ireland. It's a BBC documentary.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that, it really reminded me that I've seen all these scenes before. I've heard the story before growing up in the south of Ireland, but it meant a lot more to me now. And it really resonated with me that I've got to know the folks here a lot better. And I think that's something that on this island we need to understand each other better. And I think the understanding of the people from the south of the people in the north is not as good as it should be.
Yeah.
Having come from that. But so this song is a little bit about how me having lived here for those years, I think I understand the northern soul a bit better.
Brilliant. So coming to Northern Ireland for the first time way back then, what was it scary?
No, not scary at all. I was really excited at the time I came because of my job, as working in Queen's University and the Cancer Centre as an oncologist. So I was really excited about that, and we've had a fantastic time here. So I've no trepidation at all. I hadn't really considered Belfast, but when the job came up, it was perfect for me, and I haven't looked back.
And it is a big job. I mean, you're a professor, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm Professor of Oncology at Queen's, and I work as an oncologist specialising in treatment of prostate cancer at the Northern Ireland Cancer Centre.
So when do you get time then to fit the music in?
Yeah, it's tricky at times, evening times mostly.
Yeah.
You mentioned COVID, so since COVID I've really learned, during that time I really learned to play instruments well. I've spent a lot more time practicing, so evening times and weekends, I guess it's the priority pastime for me.
What can we expect from the album then? Because I know some of it's kind of a more darker side of life for you, and then some of the rest of it's kind of uplifting songs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mixture of things. I guess it's what's been happening to me over the last 4 years or so, or 5 years living in Belfast. So it's a mixture of my personal story, I guess, my love life, my sort of social life, as well as then, I suppose, growing older and reflecting on things like that as well. So it's a mixture of topics, but very much inspired by the life I'm leading.
So we mentioned the personal life there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a marriage breakup, didn't you?
Yes, I did, yeah. So 5 years ago, myself and my lovely wife Dara separated, and I was living in Bangor with her and the family. So I've moved into Belfast since then. Yeah, and it's been an amazing journey. A new lady in my life, Sophia, and we're very happy together.
She's Swedish, I believe.
She's Swedish, yes. So she spends half her time in Sweden, half her time here in Belfast.
Wow.
So yeah, and I try to spend as much time in Sweden as possible. So yeah, she's a fantastic person. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. So a few of the songs are inspired by her, I would say.
Okay, so what are the plans then for the album? Is there going to be gigs and things to follow?
Yes, so we're having our launch on the 21st of September here in Belfast, and following that then hopefully gigs in Belfast, Dublin and around Ireland. So we're working on getting those dates together at the moment. But I'm really excited to have a new band, playing with two fantastic guys, Ali Donnelly, drummer, and Joe Craig, a guitar player. So we've got a really great setup, and we've been joined by a new guitar player, Kevin O'Neill, a fantastic guy as well. So we're really excited about the live gig setup.
Tell me about the artwork, because I mean this is a really fabulous front cover of the CD as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really delighted with the artwork. This is a painting by a friend of mine called Paul Kerr. Paul's based in Donegal in Buncrana. A really brilliant artist, very creative guy. And this painting is called Beneath, and it's a diver sinking down into the water. And I think it resonated with me because these songs were written in Belfast Harbour. The album's called Harbour Songs. And I just thought, the idea of a diver with lots on his mind, it suited the mood of the album, I think.
Okay, well if people want to get their hands on the album, where can they go to for that then?
Yeah, it'll be available on all online outlets from mid-September onwards. So,
yeah. And the album launches in the American Bar.
American Bar, 21st September. Yeah,
brilliant.
Details to follow.
Brilliant. Well, the best of luck with that, and
Thank
the
you,
best
Robin.
of luck with the new album as well.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
a lot.
So there we go, that's a clip from the Sunflower Cottage Festival. That's what happened last year. It's back for 2024. And Eva Rowan is going to tell us all about it with us in the studio. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you so much for having me on, Robin.
Well, thank you for coming in. So we saw some fabulous images from last year's festival. That looked amazing.
I know, it was such like a picturesque place to be. It was really weird trying to even capture it on a phone for footage, but we had about 20 bands come last year over a few weekends of just the sunflower season, and they just played a bit of music for it, and we decided this year we're gonna do it again, but we're gonna upscale it. So the sunflower season runs for 5 weeks, and we're gonna have live music for 5 weeks on a big stage in our sunflower field in near Downpatrick, in Annachloy, if anyone knows it. But so all of these bands are doing this completely voluntarily to support Cancer Fund for Children, who are in affiliation with the Daisy Lodge in Newcastle, which a lot of people know how good the work is they do, and Northern Ireland Chest, Heart and Stroke as well. So they're charities that we chose in the family, just very close to us, and I just can't believe all the support we have and the amazing artists, as you've seen, that have come on board to help it. So be really excited for this year.
Well, we'll talk about the lineup in just a second, but tell me about the Cottage first of all, because it looks like there's so much history involved with this place.
Absolutely. I mean, it's estimated from the last maps that we found on the place. The Cottage is from 1832, and we don't have a lot of background yet. We're trying to find out more about the families who lived there. There are some famous stories locally that you'll have to come find out about, but it's been really cool kind of exploring the land, and you just never know what you're going to find.
You're finding stuff all the time, aren't you?
We found like artifacts of old farming life, and like the different chains they would have used, the different kind of... My uncle actually knows a lot about old farming life. He's kind of an expert in it because he has a real passion for just how they lived back then. So he would find things and explain to me how they would have used it, like the chains for the cattle that would have held them in, and they would have had these swivels on them to like prevent the cattle from choking itself. And obviously now, like technology, the way farming is on a huge scale, but it was crazy seeing the work that went into just tending to a few cattle and how they would essentially make their own tools and chains. And we're finding like the pieces of history there on it because the land is just untouched essentially.
On the land, it just seems the perfect piece of land for a music festival.
It is, like, it's really just was sitting there and it was just begging to have life brought back to it. Because when you go up there, you just kind of feel the energy of all the people who used to live there. And I think anyone who goes up there just feels excited about it and feels that kind of energy that there is something special there. And I think it was just such a nice thing for us to be able to turn it into a sunflower field for the last 2 years. So this is our 3rd year and 2nd year with music. And yeah, it really is special to us.
So tell us about this year's lineup then. What can we expect?
So this year there's a lot of hype around the String Ninjas coming, along with brand new friend, Panic Over, Banshee, who are this year's winners of Banbridge Buskfest, my own band The Thing Is, and even more like Disorder, Madam's Last Discovery, really like all the big names, especially Panic Over. They're going all over the place at the minute. They're just... I think it's a really exciting mix of like young musicians who are really on the rise at the minute as well. So I think it's just really cool for all of them coming together and just providing the support. Like it's just huge effort from all of them wanting to come, and I suppose everyone just saw it last year and saw what kind of good crack it was.
Yeah,
so,
and of course the good thing is it's all raising money for charities, as you've mentioned as well.
Yeah, and we've actually, that's just the names I've got at the top with the logos. There's 45 bands in total over the 5 weeks. So we're just going to be bombarded with live music just the whole time. So if anyone likes music or nature, it's a pretty good place to be. Okay,
well, if people want to check out the full lineup, if they want to get tickets, how do they go about doing that then?
So we have a website, and that is thesunflowercottage.co.uk. You can also find us on Facebook at Sunflower Cottage, or Instagram, the Sunflower Cottage Festival. and TikTok, but that one's a bit cringy, I suppose. But yeah, anywhere you look us up, you know, you'll find us easy enough, hopefully.
Brilliant. Well, Eva, the best of luck with the festival. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much, Robin.
We'll be chatting to Loose Women star Denise Welch right after these.
Let the good times roll at Super Strikes at the Jet Centre. You can now book your lane online. We've got 14 bowling lanes and 4 mini bowling lanes. Plus we serve delicious hot food and snacks, or enjoy a cold beverage with your food after the game. Discover bowling today at the Jet Centre. Jet Centre, entertainment for everyone.
And welcome back to Robin Elliott. My final guest on the show this evening was a victim of a bank card scam recently. And Denise Welch joins us now to tell us a little bit more about that. Denise, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Robin. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Lovely to see you. But of course, we're talking about something very serious today. Something that's actually happened to a lot of people. And one of the most common scams out there, the bank card scam.
Well, it's incredibly common. And it's, you know, until I started talking about it with EE, I was unaware of just how common it is. And people must not think that it's just us oldies that fall victim to it. Apparently, people in their 20s are as susceptible because the scams are so incredibly high tech now. You know, and mine happened a few years ago. So, you know, with the onset of COVID and people being locked down and people spending hours at their computer, they've even got, you know, bigger and better at it. So if I can just tell you about mine.
Please do, yes.
I was rehearsing a musical, Calendar Girls, the musical, and my phone rang, and I suppose it shouldn't have been on, but I saw that it said Barclays. And I know that when they call me previously, there's some kind of that, you know, they're checking that you've made that payment or whatever. Anyway, I left the room briefly and he said, "Nice guy, it's Michael. We're from the Barclays Fraud Squad." Now, from that moment, I did not have any suspicion because my phone rang, my Barclays that I'd put in came up on there, and this guy said he was protecting me from what looked like fraudulent activity on my card. So I kept having to go back in because the director wasn't very good at letting people take personal calls during time, which I get. So anyway, over the course of 2 days, I probably spoke to Michael 4 or 5 times. He was doing exactly what normally happens. Could I just recheck your birth date? Every time we called, I had to go through this information. My birthday, my address, my postcode, my mother's maiden name, all of those things I gave freely because it was Michael looking after me. On probably the 5th call on the 2nd day, I went through this same stuff again. And he kept telling me that, you know, we needed to keep doing these calls because they were trying to detect this and blah, blah, blah. To me, it was just a bit boring out of my day to be doing. And then he said to me, this may sound bizarre, but we're going to need your PIN number. Now, the normal me goes, not in a million years am I giving a stranger or anyone my 4-digit PIN number. But because it had come up with Barclays on my phone, I did. I thought nothing of it. I told my hubby probably not till the next day, and he went bonkers. And I was saying, but I know it sounds stupid. I know. Anyway, they had apparently cloned my card and had taken thousands from me by the time it was detected. I have to say, it was my credit card. Barclays were fantastic when we did get through to them. But had I had something like ScamGuard, which is what EE's digital technique that they have now, this would never have happened. So that call from this fake Barclays would have been intercepted before it got to me. And I know anybody listening might go, well, you gave him your PIN number. But honestly, we know how clever these people are. And if, say, they'd got to my dad before I lost my dad in 2021, I don't know if you ever met my dad, Robin, but, you know, my dad would talk to anybody. Yes. So these people, they're very charming, they're very personable. You've got people on their own. They're chatting to them about their weekly shopping and this, that, and the other. And before you know it, they've given personal information over. I also feel strongly that companies themselves, not banks, have to look at what they do, because I had a call the other day from a company that I'm going to be having. It's just a non-invasive thing done, and they called me, and she said, "Oh, it's Jennifer from blah blah blah." Now, Denise, can I just have your address? And it's like, well, you've called me Jennifer. Yes. I haven't called you. I don't know that you're Jennifer, so let me put the phone down. I'll do my due diligence, call you back, and then I'll give you that information.
And the scary thing is, as tech continues to get better, unfortunately, so do the scammers.
They are they're very, very, very clever. And, you know, they're not just, it's not just one person, you know, in his mother's basement doing this. These are complete and utter cells of people who have become really, really, really high tech. And of course, with the advancement of AI, and everything, much as AI is going to be wonderful in some ways, there is a real dark side to it.
So after you were scammed, did you get your money back?
I was very fortunate because it was on my credit card. But to give Barclays their due, and I think most banks, you know, when you talk to the actual fraud squad, will try to help you, but not everybody's going to be as lucky as me. And as I say, it depended on which card. But it was the fact that over this 2 days, with them gradually getting this information from me, they were working on cloning the card. So I'm thinking that I'm just talking to friendly Michael, who's trying to help me, and he was trying to take me. And again, I might not have mentioned it to my husband.
Yeah.
And therefore, how long would that have gone on for before I'd realised?
Exactly. And I suppose the first piece of advice, if you get a phone call that you're not sure about, is just hang up and then phone your bank back to get clarification.
I will not, if they call me, I will not give any information. If I know who I'm talking to because I made the call, I will give them the limited information. Never again my PIN number. There apparently is nobody ever in this world that should have access to your PIN number except the company that gave it you in the first place. But nobody should ever, they said that they would never ask for that number. So, you know, at least I can impart that little bit of wisdom.
And anybody watching this who has elderly parents or grandparents, they should have the conversation straight away to make them aware of these scams.
Sadly, Mum and Dad, they're not your friend. You know, I mean, we don't want to make people completely untrustworthy, but you've really got to be careful, because these people are not your friend. And if you don't recognise the number, don't pick it up.
Well, Denise, some very good advice there, and I'm sorry that you went through it, but it all turned out okay for you in the end, because you ended up getting your money back. Now, to finish the show this evening, I just want to mention our good friend Rosemary, the Irish entertainer who sadly passed away recently. I did a tribute to her on this show a few weeks back, and I know Rosemary was somebody who you knew very well over the years.
I've been sober 12 years now, Robin, as you may know, but back in the day, me and Rosemary had some pretty bonkers nights, which always ended up with her singing a medley of her Irish hits at 3 o'clock in the morning. And her yet again celebrating her 40th or her 50th with OK Magazine. We said, how many decades is this going to go on for, Rosemary? So she is sadly missed, but she leaves a wonderful legacy behind. And she was a fantastic, really fun, lovely person to be around.
Well, Denise, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks, Robin. See you soon, I hope. Bye.
So that's all we have time for on Robin Elliott tonight. We'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.